Keeper of the Lost Cities, Neverseen, Chapter 5. Sophie had assumed the Black Swan would be done with disguises, now that they were letting her and her friends join. But when she reached the bottom of the murky tunnel, she found Mr. Forkle looking as shriveled and swollen as ever. His huge belly barely fit between the curved walls, and the cramped space was filled with the dirty feet stink of the ruckleberries he ate to alter his appearance. "Not to complain," Keith said as he stepped into the ankle-deep sludge, "but you guys seriously need to pick some better hideouts." "This is not our hideout," Mr. Forkle said, handing them each a pendant. They breathed on the crystals, and the warmth activated the balefire inside. The pale blue glow seemed especially eerie, but that might have been because Sophie despised balefire. The everlasting flames had been Fenton's trademark, until he learned to spark Everblaze. But Sophie was still grateful to have light in the claustrophobic tunnel, especially when she saw the shadowy path ahead. "Well, that looks fun," Keith said, pushing Fitz forward. "Lead the way, buddy." "Actually, that path only goes to our demolished hideout," Mr. Forkle said. "So it was the Palazzo Vecchio?" Sophie asked. "No, that was marked as a decoy. But if the Neverseen found it, we knew it was only a matter of time before they located the real one. So I collapsed our grotto before I came here." "Where are we going, then?" Dex asked. "Through our emergency exit." Mr. Forkle licked one of the slime-covered bricks, opening a secret door hidden in the wall. Sophie gagged. "That's gross." "It certainly is, Miss Foster. Let that be your lesson. The best place to hide are the places nobody wants to go." He was right about that. The air in the tunnel smelled like eggs mixed with skunk spray, and the cold, slimy muck rained down on their heads as they walked. "Do you know how the Neverseen found your decoy?" Sophie asked. "I swear it wasn't me," Keith jumped in. "I threw my scenting crest into the ocean, and Ellen melted off tons of skin, so I am Aeromark free. Remind me to thank my mom for that one, by the way. So awesome of her to let me lead my friends into ambushes." The sharpness of his tone made Sophie reach for his hand. "I'm fine," he promised. But he didn't pull away. "We do not blame you, Mr. Sensen," Mr. Forkle said. "We assume they used Gethin. We'd been holding him there after we captured him on Mount Everest. But don't worry, we've relocated him to somewhere much harder to reach. And we'll figure out what enzyme they're tracking him with so this won't happen again." "Have you learned anything from him?" Keith asked, voicing the question Sophie was sure they'd all been thinking. Gethin was the first member of the Black Swan they'd captured. He'd also been one of Sophie and Dex's kidnappers. "Not yet," Mr. Forkle said. "His mind is tricky. We'll discuss it more later. Right now, I need you to get to your new homes." Sophie wasn't sure which felt stranger, trying to imagine feeling at home with the Black Swan, or the fact that he'd said, "homes." "Aren't we going to be living together?" Bianca asked, noticing the plural as well. "Of course." "Will you be living with us?" Sophie asked. "No, I live in the Lost Cities. I cannot disappear too long without someone noticing my absence." "But you lived with the humans for 12 years, Sophie reminded him. "Yes, and someday I'll tell you how I managed to escape anyone noticing." "So, wait," Dex said. "Does that mean we could have met one of the members of the Black Swan and not noticed it?" "I'm sure you have, Mr. Disney. Many of us are fans of your father's store." Slurps and Burps was the Lost City's most popular apothecary. Sophie could understand how a covert group would find their serums handy, since many could alter appearances. But it was strange to think she might have passed the real Mr. Forkle shopping in the cluttered aisles. But if the Black Swan was hidden among them, surely the Neverseen were as well. Sophie wondered if she'd ever seen it rebel in the streets of Atlantis, or if their kids went to school with her at Foxfire. She ran through a mental list of possible suspects, the primaries being her longtime rival, Stina Hex, as Bianca said. "So basically, you're all two different people." Or 3, Mr. Forkle corrected. Perhaps even 4 or 5. And yes, that can be rather challenging. He lifted his double chin, revealing a registry pendant hidden underneath. A clever technopath rigged this to communicate where I want the council to think I am, but it only covers blocks of time. Should I have done that to our pendants? Dex asked. No, you 5 have already drawn the council's suspicion. Better to sever your ties and seek refuge in our hideout. Any chance we'll be leaping soon? Keith asked, as a blob of slime dripped into his hair. We won't be leaping. The ogres have a gadget that can follow the trail of our leap to its source. It's how they restrict entry to their cities and monitor intruders. Now that we know the Neverseen are working with them, we assume they'll try to track us. So we can't leap anymore? Fitz asked. Not here, when they're so close. The words echoed through the tunnels, turning every shadow into a cloaked figure. If they're close, why aren't we going after them? Keith asked. We fight the fights we can win, Mr. Sensen. Right now, the Neverseen have too many advantages. They're hiding somewhere in the city, likely somewhere with great potential for human casualties. That's why I have our transport waiting downriver, where they'd never think to look. Not to ask the obvious question, Dex jumped in, but why not have us meet you there in the first place? We have reasons for working in riddles, Mr. Disney, and convenience is never a consideration, but the trail you followed was incredibly secure. Maybe if you ignored all the human technology I had to handle, Dex mumbled. And you're lucky Sophie remembered all those weird facts about Florence. Is that what you think it was? Mr. Forkle asked. Luck. Sophie sighed. Exactly how many weird memories have you given me? As many as you'll need. How can you possibly know that? Fess asked. Very careful planning. Sophie stopped walking. Planning for what? Please keep moving, Miss Foster. We do not have time for such discussions. You're seriously not going to tell her? Keith asked. Don't you think she deserves to know? She deserves many things, Mr. Forkle said. But most important, she deserves a choice. And in order to give her that choice, she must discover her purpose on her own. There are also things we must keep secret for her protection and ours. Sandor always says that secrets hinder his ability to protect me, Sophie reminded him. That applies to keeping your secrets from him, not the other way around, Mr. Forkle replied. We must hurry. Our rides won't wait forever. Sophie glanced at her friends, and she didn't have to be a telepath to know what they were thinking. After all the risks they'd taken, all the sacrifices they'd made, they'd been hoping the Black Swan would be more cooperative. But it was too late to turn back. They had to keep moving forward and hope they could convince the Black Swan to work with them. She clutched the cash in her pocket, glad to know she had a secret of her own, as she followed Mr. Forkle out of the tunnel. The river was empty. No people, no boats, no sign of whatever ride Mr. Forkle had arranged, until he blew into a slim copper whistle. It made no sound, but the brownish water rippled. Bubbles followed, growing larger until a scaly gray-green head popped out of the water. Plesiosaurs? Keith asked, as 5 more dinosaur heads burst out of the water. Ecodons, Mr. Forkle corrected, though Miss Foster likely knows them as Nessie. Sophie smiled, no longer stunned when human myths turned out to be based on reality. The creatures did have long hooked necks like the Loch Ness Monster, but their noses were a bit more pointed, and long gills lined their cheeks. These are the dinosaurs that use sound vortexes, right? Fitz asked. Precisely why I chose them, Mr. Forkle agreed. But they will be slower than light leaping, faster than any other methods, and the Neverseen cannot track us underwater. Underwater, Sophie repeated, as he handed everyone a clear, slimy membrane and told them to wrap it around their bags to keep them dry. How will we breathe? Yeah, I can only hold my breath for 15 minutes, Dex added. 15 minutes, Sophie repeated. How can you hold your breath that long? It's a mind-over-matter skill, Mr. Forkle replied. One very few take the time to learn. My dad said the stuffy nobles underestimate it, Dex said. He made us practice all the time. Your father is wise, Mr. Forkle told him. Nevertheless, you will not have to hold your breath today. I brought lufterators. He passed them each a T-shaped gadget and showed them how to put the longer end in their mouths and let the other piece cover their lips and nose. It felt like sucking air through a teeny straw, and it made Sophie dizzy. But after a few tries, her lungs fell into a slower rhythm. Do you have any more lufterators? Bianna asked. One is all you'll need, Mr. Forkle assured her. I'd still feel better if I had a spare, Bianna insisted. I can check yours to make sure it's working if you want, Dex offered. No, Bianna said, a bit too quickly. I'll wait here, and you guys can send someone back for me with another. Don't be absurd, Miss Vacker, Mr. Forkle said. We're all leaving now. Bianna shot Sophie a desperate, help me, look, but Sophie didn't understand the problem. Keith grabbed Bianna's wrist. It feels like you're hiding something. I agree, Mr. Forkle said. So let's see what it is, shall we? You don't have permission to read my thoughts, Bianna shouted. I do not need it if you're endangering us. Mr. Forkle closed his eyes, and Sophie knew there was nothing Bianna could do to stop him. Even she couldn't block him, and he'd designed her to be impenetrable. Bianna turned to her brother. Please don't let him do this. It's already done, Mr. Forkle said, staring at the empty space behind her. It appears we have a stowaway.